Hi, it's Heather from Heather Handmade. Today we're going to talk about French terry fabric and how to sew it. Please like this video and follow my channel for lots of sewing. Let's get started. French terry fabric, what is it? It is a kind of fabric that on one side it is a knit and it looks kind of like a jersey. It has a jersey weave. And the back is loops. So let me show you another fabric that will be a better example. Here's a good one. So this is a front, and this has a jersey weave on the front, which when you're looking at knit fabric, a jersey weave, it looks like it has a bunch of V's on it, and then the back looks like it has M's when you're looking at just a regular jersey. But French terry fabric has loops on the fabric, and French terry fabric is really great for keeping you warm because all of those loops on the back hold in the warmth right next to your skin and can keep you warm. The interesting thing about French terry fabric is it comes in all different kinds of weights and stretches, even though it is the same type of knit fabric. It stretches. This one doesn't have a lot of stretch. This is a heavier French terry fabric that doesn't have a lot of stretch, and it's 100% cotton. There is no spandex in this one. It's actually this cardigan that I'm wearing. I love it. It's very warm for the winter. This one is a solid gray, and it has a lot of stretch. This one has no spandex. This is a lighter weight French terry, and it still has the loops on the back, but if I hold it up to the light, I can kind of see through it. This is also a lightweight French terry. I can definitely see through it. And when I stretch it like this, do you see how it rolled and it pulled down to the front, it pulled into itself? That is because it's very lightweight and it has no spandex, which makes it can still be really stretchy, but it's harder for it to return back to its original shape without the spandex. And then this one is a medium weight. The French terry, the loop side is actually the striped side, and the inside, or the other side, the right side, is the solid with, you can kind of see the stripes, through the fabric. This one is 100%, no, this one's a cotton, I think it's a cotton rayon blend. I have to look that up. I'll put it in the description of the video. It'll be accurate. I'll have the list of all the fabrics with the fabric and where I bought it and the type, because I love wearing French terry in the fall, winter, spring. If it's really lightweight, I'll even wear it in the summer because I love wearing French terry. The one thing you have to know about French terry, it is not the same thing as terry cloth, which terry cloth is a towel. The towel fabric is called terry cloth. It has no stretch. Watch as I try to stretch. No stretch either direction, but it does have all the little loops on both sides, so it's very absorbent. And the difference is French terry stretches and the loops are only on one side. But don't mix up towel fabric with French terry knit fabric that's really nice to wear. You would not want to wear a towel for clothing. I don't think that'd be very comfortable, unless you want it to be really warm, but I think air would still go through it pretty easily. Also, what is the difference between French terry fabric and sweatshirt fleece and polar fleece? They are all pretty similar, but there are differences. So let me show you. This is the French terry. This is gray. It has the jersey weave on the front, loops on the back, and it stretches. This is polar fleece. As you can tell, it is very staticky because all of these little pieces of lint are stuck to it. Polar fleece is made out of 100% polyester. It does have kind of a smooth You could almost say it has a jersey front. You can't always tell. But the back is fuzzy. Can you see that it's fuzzy? It doesn't have loops like French terry, but it is kind of like a brushed, fuzzy back. And Polar Fleece is almost always made out of 100% polyester. And it's still good for wearing. It's very warm. It holds in the heat because of polyester and the fuzzy back. Sweatshirt fleece definitely has a jersey weave on a jersey knit look on the front. It has the V's. The back is fuzzy. It's like a brushed back that makes it very warm. It's similar to sweatshirt fleece. Some people, they're almost the same, but sweatshirt fleece is usually made out of cotton or cotton polyester blends, while Polar Fleece is 100% polyester, and the front does look different than the sweatshirt fleece. But these are three great warm weather fabrics that all have different properties and are great for different applications, and you should use them differently, but know the difference between them. How do you wash French terry? French terry, because it comes in all different kinds of fibers and all different kinds of weights, each fabric will have a different care. What I usually do is, however I'm going to wear the garment when it's all finished, that's how I wash it before I use it. So if I usually do warm or hot and throw it in the dryer because I hate hang drying and I don't actually have space for it. So at this point, I do everything warm or hot in the wash and then in the dryer. That's how I do all of my fabrics, and then I get as much shrinkage out of the fabric as possible before I sew it, so then when I sew it, wear it, wash it, it's not going to change. Now, when you sew French terry, it really depends on the weight and the stretch of your French terry. Since it's a knit, you need to treat it like a knit and be careful. I do have a video all about sewing knit fabric, so if you need help with any tips with sewing with knit fabric, I would go over there. All of those tips will work with French terry. When sewing really lightweight French terry, make sure that you're treating it like a lightweight knit with a loopy back, just so that it's treated right. When it's really heavy, like this French terry, this is probably the thickest French terry I've ever used, and that's why I like wearing it and using it, because it's so warm. But that means that it was pretty thick to sew, and I had to do a longer stitch length, and I had to kind of change my serger settings so I wouldn't stretch it out so much as I was sewing. So when I'm sewing a really heavy French terry, I usually sew it similar to like a Polar Fleece or a sweatshirt fleece, because they're both kind of a stable knit fabric that's very thick, and you have to be careful when you have so many layers together. When I have a really lightweight French terry, I treat it almost like a jersey, because I don't want it to stretch out like a jersey, but it's lightweight, and I have to treat it differently than a really heavy fabric. The one thing that's really tricky when you are working with French terry fabric is, you know how there's all the loops on the back? When you sew through French terry, if you mess up and you have to unpick it, can you imagine trying to unpick through all of these loops? You don't want to like slice through any of these loops. You want them to stay intact. So it's pretty tricky to seam rip French terry fabric because of the loops. I love sewing with French terry. I think it's a fantastic fabric. I think you should try it and see how you like it. Let me know in the comments what you think about French terry. Have you ever used French terry? Are you afraid of French terry? Ask me all the questions and I'll answer them. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day.